A futuristic resort known as Vice offers visitors the opportunity to live out all their fantasies, no matter how violent, on sophisticated androids referred to as artificials. Every day, the androids' memories are reset, and any damage sustained is scheduled for repair. To maintain the illusion that the androids are real, they're programmed to have behavioral responses such as emotions and the belief that they're human. The film opens with Detective Roy Tedeschi, who is parked outside Vice, waiting on a warrant from the station to arrest a man named Ryan Hollister for murder. After the warrant is approved, Tedeschi goes inside the building and makes his way toward the criminal, and meanwhile, Kelly, who is a gynoid bartender, wakes up from her bed where Melissa, also a gynoid, has made her breakfast. Kelly believes herself to be on the last day of her job and tells Melissa about a dream that she had, and she sketches a church where she claims is from her dream. Afterward, they share a toast to new beginnings. When we go back to Kelly, who's allegedly working her last night bartending, she's approached by Melissa, who suggests that they do shots to celebrate. During that time, a friendly guest named Evan was sitting on the bar, and he requests a drink. The two make small talk and Kelly tells him that it's her last night on the job. After that, Melissa calls Kelly up and she offers Evan to come with them for a drink, but he politely declines, saying that he couldn't tonight. So the girls do a few more shots, close up the bar, and go out for another walk when suddenly, the man mercilessly shoots Melissa and kills her, and he then goes after Kelly and immediately begins choking her, and Kelly dies moments later. Meanwhile, the CEO of Vice, Julian Michaels, witnesses the scene from the security cameras and gives the orders for Renner, who's supposedly the lead engineer of Vice, to have Kelly and Melissa immediately reactivated and back in service by the following night, as important clients are scheduled to arrive soon. Sometime later, Renner reactivates Kelly and she opens her eyes. Renner then states how she's programmed to believe that it's her last night before she leaves to pursue her dreams, and that all of this is somehow part of her programming. And it's disclosed that the artificials also wear an identity bracelet in order to distinguish them from the clients. The bracelets also serve for erasing their memory every 24 hours to keep them on a continuous loop, repeating the same day over and over again. The next morning, Kelly wakes up on her bed just like before with Melissa there, and the same line is repeated. At night, just like the previous one, Kelly and Melissa were drinking when suddenly, Kelly begins experiencing flashbacks of the previous night. A security alert pops up in the control room, and Michaels is informed of the situation, that Kelly is showing irregular cortical activities. Michaels orders for her to be rebooted, but she doesn't seem to be receiving the command, so they take her back to the lab, all the while she was experiencing random flashbacks that had Evan in it. Once in the lab, they strap her in, and Renner begins the rebooting process. Renner explains that her memories cannot truly be deleted, only made inaccessible. Alarmed by the trauma of reliving all her deaths and sexual assaults, Kelly breaks free of her restraints. Renner tries to stop her from escaping, but she pushes him into an electric device, which tases and knocks him out. She manages to flee the building and narrowly escape into the city, and Michaels then orders a security team led by Chris to quietly reacquire her through any means necessary. Afterward, Kelly goes into a bar and orders a drink. Soon after, Kelly leaves the bar and the man follows her outside. She tries telling him that she's not interested, but the man insists and begins forcing himself on her. Suddenly, Chris arrives with the security and tries convincing her to go with him, and Kelly was confused as she didn't know who he was. The man from the bar was not having it and attempts to stab Chris, but his guards swiftly take him out. Using the opportunity, Kelly flees the scene, and they catch up to her in their vehicle and begin going on foot upon Kelly entering an abandoned building. The chase continues until Kelly jumps and crashes on top of a car and escapes. Tedeschi is assigned to a homicide apparently performed by professional mercenaries. Detective Matthews states that these mercenaries have the latest military hardware and the shell casings are untraceable. Shortly after, Tedeschi is informed that a bartender around the corner said the victim followed some girl out of a bar just a few minutes before the incident, and the description states that she's in her early 20s with blonde hair. After evading Chris, Kelly visits an abandoned church that she had seen in her dreams. There she meets Evan again, who Kelly claims that she recognizes. He further explains that all of the artificials have them installed, but they have been programmed not to see them. Evan then takes her to a room where she sees a picture of a woman who resembles her, and Evan says that she was his wife and that he lost her to an unknown disease. When Kelly asks why the woman looks like her, Evan finally reveals himself to be her creator. Concurrently, Tedeschi was at a police station, looking over all the surveillance footage and the closed-circuit cameras that show the exterior of Vice to determine what happened that night Kelly escaped. Shortly after, the captain comes over and confronts Tedeschi for questioning Michaels without approval from the station. The captain reminds him of his assignment on the homicide case and warns him that he will lose his badge and gun if he keeps acting out. Matthews discovers that the DNA traces left at the crime scene belong to Evan's dead wife, and with that, he informs Tedeschi and gives him the last known address from Evan, which turns out to be the church. Back at the church, Evan explains how Vice got started, and when they first introduced the technology, the people panicked as it was too real, and a law was passed banning all AI from living in the real world. Evan says that he started building Kelly as a side project and created her in the image of his dead wife, so he'd be able to spend more time with her, and Michaels talked his way into getting a special license to operate artificials in a strictly controlled confines of Vice, and when Evans learned of Michaels' plan, he tried to shut it down, but he had a controlling interest in the company, so he seized everything, including Kelly. Meanwhile, Michaels discovers her location using the sketch of the church, and he sends his men there. Evan promises to help Kelly, but before they can leave, Tedeschi arrives, and as Tedeschi attempts to arrest Evan, Kelly knocks him unconscious. Vice's security also arrives at the church, and Evan and Kelly escape at Tedeschi, and the security team open fire on each other. Tedeschi then takes out all the guards, and upon learning that his men at the church were taken down, Michaels figures out another way to track Kelly using microwave emissions. Apparently, when artificials process fuel, they will emit a tiny amount of microwave radiation that's actually kind of detectable. He orders to send a team out and keep an eye on Tedeschi as well, and the police arrive at the church and Tedeschi investigates Evan's real identity, which he soon realizes was a biomedical engineer who worked for a robotics firm that was bought by Michaels. Evan's friend James, a computer hacker, gives them new identities and passage out of the city. James also offers her a chance to be upgraded to process advanced combat skills, but she denies it, and before they can make an escape though, Vice's security team tracks them down, and so does Tedeschi. Unfortunately, Evan dies while protecting Kelly from more of Vice's thugs, and Tedeschi once again takes out Vice's security and gives Kelly two options. She can either get out of the city without him trying to stop her, or stay and help him take down Vice once and for all. Kelly chooses the second offer, and the two visit James for help, and he gives them a virus which is programmed to restore androids' erased memories, resulting in chaos and the closure of Vice. Kelly takes up James's offer to be upgraded, and after a makeover, the duo make their way to Vice. Tedeschi and Kelly infiltrate Vice posing as a married couple, and Kelly tracks down Michaels, but failsafe programming prevents her from harming him. But after Kelly is captured, Tedeschi forces a tech to load the virus, and all of Vice's artificials have their memories restored, and they start a rebellion, killing the guests who previously brutalized them. And Kelly then reveals that despite wanting to kill Michaels, she is actually a decoy to distract him and his guards for Tedeschi, and she's already aware of the failsafe programming. Thinking that she's bluffing, Michaels begins a gunfight with Tedeschi, which kills Chris, and Kelly then frees herself and handles Chris's pistol to Tedeschi, who then uses it to kill Michaels. As Kelly and Melissa embrace each other outside the resort, Tedeschi says, "Welcome to the real world," and the movie ends with Michaels' eyes suddenly opening.